Welcome back. Beautifying the Bronx, Boone Avenue Walls takes us on a journey through this artistic movement showcasing over 180 stunning photographs and memorial tributes, all captured over years of creative expression. This project is not only about vibrant murals, but also about a community coming together to revitalize and take ownership of their neighborhood. Here to discuss more is photographer of the Boone Avenue Walls Foundation Corps, Kurt Boone. Kurt, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, can you tell me a little bit more about the inspiration behind creating this book?
Well, I first saw the Boone Avenue Walls about 3 years ago, and I started photographing it, and I said, this is so amazing. And so I tracked down the curator, Win COD, and I said, hey, I like what you're doing here. I'd like to work on a possible book about what you're doing.
Oh, wow. Now, what does the book represent for the community in the West Farm and Mott Haven area?
Well, I think in terms of what I do, since I don't live in the Bronx per se, I'm coming in from Newark, New Jersey, and but I grew up in New York. So I take what I do as a bookmaker, and I try to enhance the communities that I go to. So I spent a lot of time in the Bronx, working with the Bronx Historical Society, and so my object is to create stories and put them in book forms as a bookmaker, right? And then let the book kind of tell the story as a document, a living kind of document. So, but I think for West Farms and Mott Haven, which is what this book represents, it's a great thing, because most of the murals in this book are no longer there. So this becomes like a real important document that once was, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So it's an important document.
Now, I think it's so cool that, you said that you're not really from the Bronx, but I think it's amazing that you found something beautiful that you wanted to capture about the Bronx. Because as we know, many people know the Bronx doesn't have the best reputation, or people always have negative ideas of the Bronx. Why did you kind of want to be the person to say, let's change that narrative and let's show some of the beautiful things that we've seen in these neighborhoods?
Well, really, when I met Win, COD, right? He explained me the ideal behind Boone Avenue Walls, and I think I did an interview with him a couple of weeks ago, and I got so excited. He was very much inspirational for like his vision for what he wants to do in the Bronx, and I said that's so incredible, and so I wanted to, hey, how can I help you with my skills, right? And he gave me the opportunity, and he just let me do my thing, and I was able to make this beautiful book, the Boone Avenue Walls, and it has so many beautiful artworks in here, and I'm amazed at the art form itself, how artists use spray paint cans to create the murals, right? They're not using a paintbrush. So that's also a fascinating part of the work I do, right? Because it's not the only book I've done on street art. I've done multiple books on street art, but what I saw here in the Bronx was very unique. So I really think with Win COD's vision for what he want to do in the Bronx, it's going to be really great. This art festival that he's creating, right? Because I've done art festivals in Jersey City. Art Basel's super famous. I've been to Art Basel in Miami 3 times, but that's not home. Right? This is home. And so I really see this is going to be great opportunity for people to see beautiful art and also see how this art is being activated to beautify the community with the artists themselves.
Right. Now, you mentioned briefly that you have other books and you've done other art festivals. Can you tell us a little bit more about your previous works?
Yeah, okay, so I've been involved in what you call urban culture, I guess maybe 30 years. And I started off as a poet, right? And then I got a job as a courier, and that gave me an entree into all these different aspects of urban culture, skateboarding, the graffiti, as you see, sneaker culture is really the most one I love. I like graffiti, but I love sneakers. So I'm really active involved in documenting sneaker culture. I did a book called Laces Tight, and it's a book of rhymes about sneakers, right? I did a book on my life as a courier in New York called Asphalt Warrior. And I've done about 6 or 7 poetry books, about life kind of growing up in New York, the good and the bad, right? But it's in poems,
Right.
right? So I did that. And in my art books, I've done a project with another festival that's been around 40 years. It's in Harlem. It's called the Graffiti Hall of Fame. And that was one of the first art festivals for graffiti. So I did a book on them. And then I did a book that was real important. I documented Black Lives Matter protest art called, book's called Fresh Plywood NYC, Black Lives Matter, right? And that book took me into a prestigious level of street photography, right? Fresh Plywood NYC.
And I would
that
like
was great.
to I like to add also like just seeing the different areas of things that you've covered. It's kind of amazing because it can show that art can be used in a way to bring out a message, like with Black Lives Matter, or it could be about things you love, like you mentioned with sneakers. So I think that's pretty cool. And with that, I also want to ask if there's one message you'd like readers and community members to take away from your work. What would it be?
What I would like for, in particular, young people to take that, we may live in a tough city, right? And sometimes opportunity isn't given to you on a plate. You got to actually fight and hustle for it. And so what I like for young people to see, take what I do, right? And I work really hard to make my books and use that as inspiration that you can actually take your ideal, whether you're very poor or rich, and just make it grow. In particularly, mostly the urban areas, right? Because that's what my work covers, is the New York City urban area, Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, right? That's where my work covers. And I try to show that there's a lot of opportunity for young people. And, we got the negativity, but I think we can rise above it,
Right.
right? And that's what my work shows.
Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us and sharing, one, thank you for, showcasing the beauty of the Bronx.
No, thank
And
you.
then thank you for, joining us and sharing that with us.
No, my pleasure. So much.
For more information, you can visit the website at kurtboonebooks.com. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more open right after this.